Alright, so today our team travelers, team time travelers will be. Alright, so today our team travelers, team time travelers will be presenting chapter 5 and 6. Alright, so first let's take a look at our members. Our leader Nguyễn Hữu Xuân Bách and me, Nguyễn Nam Khánh, Tô Minh Bảo, Hà Trấn Huy, and Ngô Quốc Anh. Alright, so move on. Model of consumer behavior. Let's talk about consumer buyer behavior and consumer markets. So the first one is the buying behavior of final consumers, individuals and households that buy goods and services for personal consumption. And consumer markets are made up of all the individuals and households that buy or acquire goods and services for personal consumption. So move on the model of buyer behavior. Thoroughly, we can see 3 boxes: marketing and other stimuli, buyers, black box, and buyer responses. So for the first table, we can probably measure the whats, wheres, and whens of buyer behavior, but it's difficult to see inside the consumer's head and figure out the whys.
For the next part, we'll look at some characteristics that affect consumer behavior. They are cultural factors, social factors, personal factors, and psychological factors. Next, we'll run over each of them to see what they really mean. For the cultural factors, there's culture. It is defined as the set of basic values, perceptions, wants, and behaviors learned by a member of society from family and other important institutions. Marketers are always trying to spot cultural shifts so as to discover new products that might be wanted. For example, the cultural shift toward greater concern about health and fitness has created a huge industry for health and fitness services. For subculture, it is defined as groups of people within a culture with shared value systems based on common life experiences and situations. It's just like a culture within a culture. Lastly, social class. Social societies, relatively permanent and other divisions whose members share similar values, interests, and behaviors. For example, in America, there are the upper class, middle class, working class, and lower class. Both, each of them have different consumer behavior. Next, the social factors. Groups and social networks. There are 3 types of groups: the membership groups, groups with direct influence and to which a person belongs; aspirational groups, one to which the individual wishes to belong, as when a young basketball player hopes to someday be like his idol, LeBron James, that played in the NBA. Reference group, groups that form a comparison reference, informing attitudes or behavior. Marketers always try to identify the reference group of their target markets. Reference groups expose a person to new behaviors and lifestyle, influencing the person's attitudes and self-concept, create pressures to conform that may affect the person's product and brand choices. Family members can strongly influence a buyer behavior, and family is the most important consumer buying organization in the society. Roles and status. A person belongs to many groups, such as families, organizations, and some other communities. The person's position in each group can be defined in terms of both of role and status. For example, like at school, when you talk about like studying, you might be a prodigy, but you aren't really good at sports. So like whenever there's gym class, PE, you're just another ordinary. For personal factors, there's occupation. That your job can affect your behavior. For example, like blue collar workers tend to buy more rugged work clothes, whereas executives buy more business suits and students buy uniform. Like age and life stage, people change the goods and services they buy over their lifetimes. Taste in food, clothes, furniture, and recreation are often age-related. Like when you're a child, you usually like to play games, listen to music. But when you're older, you just want to relax at home, maybe read some newspaper or books. Economic situation. It is very easy to understand that people's income can affect what they want to buy. Rich people tend to buy more luxurious items. Lifestyle captures something more than person's social class or personality. It provides a person's whole pattern of acting and interacting in the world. Lastly, personality and self-concept. Each person's distinct personality influences his or her buying behavior. Personality refers to the unique psychological characteristics that distinguish a person or group. Personality is usually described in terms of traits such as self-confidence, dominance. Lastly, the psychological factors. Motivation. A motive is a need that is sufficiently pressing to direct the person to seek satisfaction. In the real world, there are a lot of incentive that will heavily influence the consumer behavior. Perception. A motivated person is ready to act. How the person acts is influenced by their perception. Perception is the process by which people select, organize, and interpret information to form a meaningful picture of the world. How people look at the world. Learning describes changes in an individual's behavior arising from experience. For example, a person's drive for self-actualization might motivate him or her to look into buying a camera. Beliefs and attitude. A belief is a descriptive thought that a person holds about something. Belief may be based on real knowledge, opinion, or faith, and may or may not carry an emotional charge. If some of the beliefs are wrong and prevent a company purchase, the marketers will want to launch a campaign to correct them. Attitude describes a person's relatively consistent evaluation, feeling, and tendencies toward an object or idea. For example, our camera buyer may hold attitudes such as buy the best. The Japanese make the best camera products in the world. Those are some of the examples of a consumer's attitude. So let's move on to the next part.
So in this part, we'll find out what is buying decision behavior and the buyer decision process. There are 4 types of decision behavior: complex buying behavior, dissonant reducing buying behavior, habitual buying behavior, variety-seeking buying behavior. Complex buying behavior. Customers who are highly involved in a purchase and perceive significant differences among brands. Dissonant reducing buying behavior. Customers who are highly involved with an expensive, infrequent, and risky purchase but see little difference among brands. And about habitual buying behavior is occurring under conditions of low consumer involvement and little significance between brands. A variety-seeking buying behavior. Customers characterized by low consumer involvement but significant perceived brand differences. In such cases, consumers often do a lot of brand switching. And now we will turn to the buyer decision process. First, they need recognition. Buyer recognize a problem or need. The need can be triggered by internal stimuli or external stimuli. Information research. The consumer may store the need in the memories or undertake an information search related to the need. And the third steps, evaluation, and alternatives. Consumers process information to choose among alternative brands. And then they will make a purchase decisions. Attitudes of others, unexpected situation factors. And last but not least, post-purchase behavior. Relationship between the consumer's expectations and the product's perceived performance.
Chapter 5 was a wild ride. Next up is Chapter 6, Business Market and Business Buyer Behavior. We will cover 5 topics: business market, business buyer behavior, the business buyer decision process, engaging business buyer with digital and social marketing, and institutional and government market. In the beginning of Chapter 6, we will talk about market structure and demands. The business marketer is normally deal with far fewer but far larger buyers than the consumer marketer does. Many business markets have an elastic and more fluctuating demands. The total demand for many business products is not affected by the price change, especially in the short run. Finally, business demand is derived demand. It ultimately derives from the demand for consumer goods. So what is the nature of buying unit? A business purchase usually involves more decision participants and more professional purchasing effort. Business buying is done by trained purchasing agents who spend their working life learn how to buy better. The more complex the purchase, the more likely it is that several people will participate in the decision-making process. Buying committees composed of technical experts and top management are common in the buying of major goods. Therefore, companies must have well-trained marketers and salespeople to deal with these well-trained buyers. Furthermore, I would like to talk about the business buyer behavior. First is the model of business buyer behavior. Although some difference, the business buyer market are kind of similar to consumer market. So this model is look a lot like the model of consumer buyers, but there are some major differences, especially in the nature of the buying unit, the type of decision made, and the decision process. First is the environment. The marketing stimuli or the microenvironments include product, price, place, and promotion. Other stimuli include economic, technological, political, cultural, and competitive environment. Next is the buying organization. They have the organizational influence. Then they will influence the interpersonal and individual influence will influence the decision process. So the buying decision process is more influenced by the interpersonal and individual influence, and then it will affect by the organizational influence. And the buyer responses, products or service choice, supplier choice, order quantities, delivery terms and times, service term, and payment. So, what are the type of situation that can happen when buying something? First, it is a straight rebuy, a business buying situation in which the buyer routinely reorders something without modification. Modified rebuy, in which the buyers want to modify the product for a specification, price, term, or suppliers. New task, a buying situation in which the buyer purchase a product or service for the first time. System selling or solution selling, buying a package solution to a problem of a single seller. Thus, avoiding our separate decision involving in a complex buying situation. So we are already known about the business buying process. So what are the participants? The decision-making unit of a buying organization is called a buying center. It consists of all the individual and units that play a role in business purchase and decision-making process. First are the users. Users are the member of the organization who will use the product or service. In many cases, user initiative the buying proposal and help define product specification. Influencer often help define specification and also provide information or evaluating alternative. Technical personnel are particularly important influencers. Buyers have formal authorities to select the suppliers and arrange terms of purchase. Buyers may help shape product specification, but the major role is in selecting vendors and negotiating. In more complex purchase, buyers might include high-level officers participating in the negotiation. The decider have formal or informal power to select or approve the final suppliers. In routine buyings, the buyers are often the decider or at least the approver. And finally, the gatekeepers control the flow of information to others. For example, purchasing agents often have authorities to prevent salesperson from seeing user or deciders. Other gatekeepers include technical personnel and even personal secretaries.
Alright, move on to the next part. I'm going to talk about how does the business buyer decide its products. So there are 8 steps involved. At the beginning, a company recognizes a problem and decide on the product to buy. Then they're going to create general need descriptions. This is a list of all the characteristics and characteristics and quantity of the product. Then they're going to a stage which is product specification. This will mean the company chooses the best characteristics to invest. Then the company is going to search a specific supplier on the market. When they got all the list of suppliers, they will invite them to submit the supplier's proposal, and then they going to select a supplier by negotiating with the supplier and try to come up with the best deal. And at the next stage, they're going to do a order routine specification, where they're going to finalize the deal, such as time, delivery, the warranty cost. And finally, they're going to review the whole process. However, in the real world practice, there could be witnessed 2 types of buyers. First, the buyers who face a new task buying situation usually go all the stages of the buying process. Second, there are some buyers making modified or straight rebuy, which they may skip some of the stages. And most importantly, the companies must manage the overall customer relationship, which often includes many different buying decisions in various stages of the buying decision process. And in the next part, I'm going to talk about the engaging business buyers with digital and social marketing. So, we're going to define 2 concepts. First is e-procurement and online purchasing, which is defined by the purchasing through electronic connection between buyers and sellers, usually online. So, in recent times, there are recent advances in information and digital technology have given birth to e-procurement, by which business and buyers are purchasing all kind of products and service online, and it comes with many benefits. Um, the internet gives business buyers access to new suppliers, low purchasing costs, and hastened order processing and delivery. Um, Next is business to business digital and social media marketing. I'm going to explain its what it is. Uh, Using digital and social media marketing approaches to engage business customers and manage customer relationship anywhere, anytime. And briefly talking, business marketers also are increasingly connecting with customer online and through digital, mobile, and social media to engage customers, share marketing information, such as to sell products and services, provide customer support services, and maintain ongoing customer relationship. So this is the end of my presentation.
All right, so for the last part, let's talk about institutional and government markets. So it divides into two sections. First one, institutional markets. Institutional markets consist of schools, hospitals, nursing homes, and even prisons, and so on, that provide goods and services to people in their care. All right, so let's take an example. Colleges and universities are consumers in an institutional market, which purchase such as textbooks, computers, seating for classrooms, and various teaching aids in bulk. Government's market is a market where the main buyers are federal, state, and local governmental organizations. So they purchase goods and services from private business for their use, And for example, in terms of national defense, some governments have dramatically invested in purchasing more weapons, such as tanks, fighter jets, aircraft carriers, nuclear weapons, and spy satellites, for example, over the past decade.